Hey there, party people. Welcome to another edition of Brag and Drag. I'm your host, Corbin Dallas. Today's brag is the SOS Renato fight. The throne fight is amazing. The drag is somebody's been naughty and reporting Renato for who knows what, got himself temporarily banned from his castle. While the castle's still on the map, it is no longer accessible to him. So that's a drag on our lovely host's Gameloft. It's probably not a great idea to do that. We'll see what comes of it. Anyways, there's your brag and drag. Today I want to talk about PvP, or player versus player boosts. And I want to start out by saying what the difference between player versus player and PvE, which is player versus environment. Contrary to popular belief, it is not player versus encounter because it is a gaming term and not a March of Empires term. All right, so player versus player is the attack and damage you do right here against other players. Okay, these are not part of the environment. They're not barbarians. They're not encounter camps. None of those things. Okay, so just keep in mind today we're going to be talking about player versus player boosts. Now there are the obvious ways to boost your stats. They are found in your gear set, right? So the equipment that your champion is wearing. Keep in mind your champion must be with the march for any of this stuff to take effect. This all determines. Now, this is going to be a big, obvious one. Everybody knows that this affects it. One of the things that we need to remember is that there are gear sets. Gear sets are very important when you are looking for additional set bonuses. The number in parentheses means if you have 2 of any of these, you'll get a siege attack and health boost. Now, there are so many gear sets out there that you can come over here and look at the equipment sets and find out what they are. Sword, march speed, army attack. Keep in mind, some equipment will be available in red and yellow. And if you have 2 in yellow and none in red, then that only counts as 1. It will not count towards the 5 or the 4. So this is a good gear set to keep that in mind. You need 1 Imperial Wrath in yellow and 1 in red to get 2. Okay, now that becomes important when you're trying to get all the way up to 5. This obvious also, swordsman attack and health is for just your swords. Army will give a boost to all of the troops that are within your march. So if you have faction units, if you have some archers, anything you have, you get an additional 75% should you have 5 in this equipment set. And these are all of the equipment sets in the game. As you can see, there are a ton of them. So keep those in mind. When you're gearing up, you can't just search for the most powerful sword attack because it must be part of a set for it to mean anything. Here you go. There's a good set right there. All right, I don't want to talk about how to get all of your best sets. Just understand that when you do this, you want to make sure that you're looking at not just the gear, but what gear works best together because it is part of a set. While we're here, we can talk about champion classes. So these class tokens, right, when these are not assigned, you will have the ability to assign them based on what you have. And there must be an open slot for you to assign them. And then you rank them up based on the number of tokens you have. And then you increase their level based on XP points. So you want to match up this set here is Ranger for all the Archer. Conqueror has Army army perks, weapons, morale loss. If they ever see a underlined description, if you click on that, it'll pop it up and tell you what does that actually mean. That becomes important when you get down to things like rallying offense. What does that mean? This goes up to 3%. Okay, so what that means is that your overall percentage goes up 3%. So the higher your stat already is, the higher that 3% is going to be. And you can, the more tokens you have and the higher level your classes are, you can get even more army offense. So you can stack these percentages way up. All right, so classes, gear sets. The other obvious ones are do your research. Do not just your research, but also do your advanced research. Boop. So when you go into advanced research, it gives a whole new set of options. And then you have to do, advanced research requires insight. So you're going to have to do your dailies to gain insight into, to be able to spend working on your advanced research here. So here you go. This one takes 90 and I've got 1,015 here. And that cost goes up higher and higher the further down the research chain you get. All right, next up, Paragon. The higher your Paragon, the more points you can allot. Each one of these is 1 point. You'll need certain levels to unlock all of the goodies. The highest is 110. We'll unlock this. You won't be able to get everything until you're at 155. So do the Paragon events. Get your VIP. You will get some bonus Paragon from that. Get the cloak. There's all sorts of ways to get extra Paragon, but make sure you're maximizing your Paragon. You come in here and work on, actually, let's go back here. One of the things you want to work on is your Champion Almanac. Okay, so if you've watched my Champion Almanac video, you realize that each champion or each faction has different perks. Shogun is for your archers, King is for your swords, Sultan is for spears, and Tsar is for your cavalry. All right, so the more champion quests you complete, the higher your attack, your wood income, army load, spear attack, income, research, sword attack, in iron income, construction speed, archer, food income, and training speed. All right, changing factions is going to cost you 5,000 gold, so keep that in mind if you're low on gold. But the higher you get there, the higher your attack boost can go. All right, now each holy site will allow you to pray, and if you're level 10 on your holy site, you can get up to 90% attack. Right? There are also flags that show up. If you were to see some flags, let's look down here. What flag? Okay, this flag here is for construction speed, but there are army attack and army health boosts. So look for them. They are red for the army attack and green for army health. Make sure you get those. You can also spy. This middle spy down here. Nope, actually it is this spy. Get army health plus 30% for 30 minutes. So pray, do your army health, do your spy, gather intel. It doesn't matter if they have a peace shield. So you can, obviously this is easier done spying on a dead castle that meets the level requirement. All right, so get there, get that health. Also, alchemy. War. Make sure you're selected to war. Sometimes when you first click on it, it'll be on economy. And if you do the fusion, you will be wasting your, whatever this stuff is. And so you can get sword, spear, cavalry range, siege, faction. This is just your straight attack. This will help for PvP player versus player or player versus encounter. This is health. Okay, so these here are just for encounters. So if they're green, they're just for encounters. Keep that in mind. If you're trying to increase your player versus player, that is not going to help you. So make sure you do that. The other thing you can do is when you go to send a march, you can send mercenary. The passive bonus on mercenaries will give you, I can remember where all this stuff is, active passive skills on the mercenary, right? 70% for a T1. Get up here to his T6, you can get 70% health when they go berserk. War cry, you get 100%. This squad is added. So these are good perks. You want to keep those with them. Have at least one with your march if you're really trying to attack somebody. The other thing is district enhancements. If you were to look at district enhancements for military drill boost, you can increase these and make sure it's selected when you go to march, and it will give you an additional % increase. Temple will have army health, some more mercenary boosts. With the ability here, you can see you have 2 of the attack and 1 of the utility. Really, this is a universal one. You can do either attack, that's why there's a sword, and a gear underneath. So this is either one. So you can have 2 of the attack. So you can have your army health and your mercenary selected here. In the arena, this will give you your melee specific. Okay. And down here in city walls, you can get your ranged or your siege. Siege is officially called ranged, but this is bows. All right. And then in here in your castle, you've got these perks, army health and squad size. There's another thing I want to talk about, squad size. What does squad size mean? And why is there march size and squad size and rally size? Okay. Look at this guy here. If I were to do an attack over here, this is my total march size. 540,000 divided by 10. So if I had any troops here, I could click on one and fill one of these spots. The most I could get is 54,000. Okay, that's because there are 10 slots and the total march size is this. Okay, each one of these spots is called a squad. Okay, so if I were to increase my squad size, it will increase my march size by the squad. So if you were to click gear that had squad size, you could increase how much each one of these slots can hold. Okay. Now, player versus player. So player, this is just your march size. Now, if this were an encounter camp, find encounter camp, and we were to hit to attack, notice it's larger. This is larger because this is a march size versus encounter. Okay? So there are 2 different march sizes, march size and march size versus encounter. Okay? So when you're looking to increase your march size, size counts, right? When you're attacking a player, size matters. The more troops you can put, the better off you're going to be. All right. We have their menagerie. If you want to look here, your brown bear, 90%. This unlocks at level 20 bear. So increasing your animal will increase the amount of army attack, army health. Some of the other ones, the white rhino, army attack, right? This adds a base damage for the attack. Occurs every 4 rounds. That means the first round, the 5th round, depending on how long it lasts. This restores a little bit of health. And the maximum level you can get on an animal is 25. So the higher these go, these are just the base levels. So once you get to level 7, you'll get 100%. As you go to level 8, 9, 10, this increases. So it's very important to acquire and then upgrade your animals. And you have march animals and assist animals. Okay, so, and then hunters. These gray wolf is a hunting animal. All right, so make sure you're sending an animal. The warthog, this thing does damage to anybody that flanks. So these things can do damage even if you send them with T1. It's called T1 spamming. There are a lot out there that really don't like that, but that's how that works. You send this, as long as you get past the walls, it will do damage to T5, even with a T1 troop. T5, T6. Sorry, I forgot we had T6 now. I don't mean to break the news here on this update, but castle level 36 is on its way. Prepare yourself, save your silver. Unlike me, I only got 7 million silver here. All right. And then morale. That's the last thing. When you are attacking somebody, one of the best things about the Shogun Castle, morale gain. Morale is the measure of your troops' willingness to stay and fight, even though people around them are dying, if that makes sense to anybody. So you want your morale gain to be high, and you want morale loss, enemy morale loss, to take off as much morale as possible. That means that even if they have a lot of soldiers left, they'll run away, right? They don't have the fortitude to stay in the fight, so they quit and run away, and you win. So morale is important as well. It's almost an intangible that will assist you when attacking another player. All right. The other thing I want to talk about today is joining rallies. Okay. A couple of things. When you want to join a rally, you've got somebody in your alliance who says, I'm going to go rally a seat of power. And your enemy says, haha, when you are rallying, your champion is away, so I can attack you. Sometimes they will attack smaller castles that join the rally. Things that you can do to try to help yourself. Let me be clear. Some people will still just be able to defeat your castle even when you're joining a rally and your champion is inside. But things that you can do, you can, based on your research, you can build walls, okay, city walls. And this capacity will be as high as all of your capacity perks allow it to be. Okay, so you can get up to, if you have enough workshops. Let's see if I've got a workshop here. That's the embassy. I don't know. I don't ever look at these workshops. So one of these, that's tavern. Here we go. Corbin Dallas presents how to find a workshop. I don't know. There's probably somebody watching screaming at me right now saying, there's your workshop, stupid. Go find it. I don't know. But your workshops, there we go. Way up here. Defense capacities, right? So the higher level your workshop is, the more capacity you can have in your city walls. And then the faster the more trap production. So when you go to produce the walls, this will increase how many you can produce at one time. So workshops, the number of workshops you have, and when you first get a castle, all these spots are blank. The more of these that you build in workshops, the more walls you can have. The more walls you have, the more it takes to get past them. And if you remember, one of the recent updates that Gameloft made was melee troops cannot take down walls. They might be able to get past some if you have a big enough march size, but your walls will not be damaged unless hit by siege. Okay, so build walls. Make sure your defense stats are set up. Come in here. Defense effectiveness. All right, this is a good one. So you would have a defense. So when you join the rally, you would have one gear set that is fully set on defense effectiveness. Set that up, right? Make sure that that is all set. Also, down here under city walls, you want to do effect and durability, right? The higher you have this thing built up, the more boost it gives to your defensive effectiveness. So you can combine this with the champion class, with your gear set, with your paragon. Just like you would build up for an attack, you would build up a defense setup and then join your rally while you're in that. And then if you have enough gold, enough stone, when somebody attacks you, you just simply repair the walls. And they get really upset and they have to use a Paragon 70 Grand March attack in order to burn you. And then your troops just go to the temple, and their troops die. So that is the best way to join a rally, protect yourself, upgrade your PvP boosts. Obviously, you've got all the boosts over here: army attack, army health, march size, specialized army. These are always good. These give a little bit of perk. We add these in, and they're limited time boosts specific to a troop type. Okay. Now these are versus encounters, so don't use those when you're trying to attack a player. Is here. You can always spend 5,000 and get the Conqueror's Fury. That reduces players' army attack and health by 25%. It's always nice. Knock their attack and health down a little bit. And if you employ those, I think you'll have a little more success attacking other players. And we want to get back to barbarians and encounters and how to do that. Shoot me a message online or here on the channel, and I'll do my best to respond. Thanks for listening, and march on.